today's episode of PJ and the Beard, we're going to take a look at a pedal from MXR. But before we get into this pedal, we want to ask you to consider subscribing to the channel, clicking on the notification bell. Your interaction with us helps us engage great manufacturers, great retailers, great people in the business. Mm-hmm. And in this case, we used our Zzounds library card to get in a pedal that we saw when it initially came out. We're very interested. One reason or other, we didn't get it in, and a lot of time passed. And when we were thumbing through the Sears catalog, as I call it, the Zzounds website, we're like, oh, look at that.
Right.
So we got in the Poly Blue Octave from MXR.
And quite honestly, it's kind of blowing my mind.
Yeah.
There's so much packed into this pedal. We joke that the library card comes with a return, an expiration date, and this might be one that we might have to talk to them about keeping. We
don't know what an overdue library book costs at this point.
Yeah, this one is really, really good, and packed full of just tons of features. And when you think MXR, you think, okay, there's all kinds of things MXR is really famous for. Pedal-wise, what if I almost feel like they're like, what if we just pack them all into one box and we'll fool people by calling it an octave pedal? That's how it kind of feels.
Yeah, because it has Poly Blue Octave. And even though I did play this very briefly in the Dunlop showroom in Nashville, there were so many pedals, so many things. I don't remember them tapping into half of what this did. So when we got it here, we found out that, MXR is probably not most famous for, but pretty famous for this orange box right here, the Phase 90. So they took this Phase 90 and they shoved it into this little blue box.
Right.
It's pretty amazing.
I mean, I don't know. I hear MXR, I think Phase 90.
Mm-hmm.
Or Phase 100, or Phase 45, or whatever, but I mean...
I think vintage with no power supply. That's what I think when I...
Check out what the Poly Blue Octave sounds like.
You went for it. You nailed it. Stuck the landing. Yeah, so that's pretty amazing. And we'll go through maybe the parameters a little bit because we're going to show you some other features in this pedal. So the other, that's part of the modulation package, if you will. The other modulation package, I think they call it Leslie, right? So this MXR micro chorus, as part of our Leslie sound series, we were trying to find alternative pedals you can get a Leslie sound out of. So this particular pedal, almost dimed, kind of got the Leslie sound. So being that it's a chorus, we think maybe part of that is what's making... They're calling it Leslie. It could be vibrato. It could be chorus.
I'm not sure they're calling it Leslie.
Is that what they call it?
They called it Leslie in the Instagram post.
Okay.
That we saw recently. If you turn off that button, now we get more to that Leslie sound. So I'm going to take the mod knob and crank it up a little bit.
Sorry. Some noise for you. So I manually manipulated that, but you're going to see something much better than my fat fingers down there a little bit later.
With no regard to timing either on that.
Anyway. So the other thing that was interesting is, it's the Poly Blue Octave. Well, MXR made something else with the word blue in it. And every time I refer to this pedal, I keep saying blue box. It's not the blue box. This is the blue box. And we may put a card up for this or not. I laugh every time I think about this pedal because we had the most fun ever probably making an episode about this unpredictable wild child of a pedal.
Very early episode.
Yeah. I got this from our buddy Chris at Woodshed Guitars. Ended up keeping it. We bought it from him. But we're like, wow, Poly Blue Octave. And so in reading a little bit about this, there's a fuzz portion in this pedal that is kind of the fuzz that's in here. And now you're going to hear the octaves for the first time. It's a Poly Blue Octave pedal. You haven't heard an octave yet. You're about to.
So here's the fuzz. Let's roll some octave 2 into that. Or one octave down.
So when you hit the mono, this little mono, I know we didn't go over all the dials and the knobs and buttons, but the mono makes it more of the lo-fi kind of old school.
It's the monophonic.
Yeah,
that's what they call it.
So the blue box, you can hear it get a little more glitchy. It didn't track as clearly. It sounded like you're hitting more than one note. It still didn't get quite as unpredictable as this, but you can hear what that does to that. It's sort of like, I keep pointing back here because there's a Boss OC2 that you use. I have one as well. That those older octave pedals didn't track like this. That's why the polyphonic, right? You couldn't really play a chord. If you bent a note, it took. So they had that in there because some people like the charm of that or the glitchiness of that. So that's in there. Yeah. So that's in there too. So you can have this pristine, perfectly tracked, sound, or you can get the little bit of the glitchiness, a little bit of the kind of lo-fi feel, if you will.
Right. And so now I think two things. Well, one, we were talking about it, and maybe some people don't understand how the octaves work. Because we have an octave 1, -1, an octave -2, an octave +1, octave +2. Thought we would show that really quick. Mm-hmm. But then we want to jump into there's where it gets disgusting. It really does. It gets really, really, really good. I don't know that I understood this from watching some of the other demos I've watched or whatever. Right. That when you start to incorporate an expression pedal into it, that you start to really get this world of opportunity open up. So maybe a little change of plans. Do you want to do what we were doing just to show?
You want the drive?
Talking knobs real quick. You have a clean.
It's your dry knob.
Dry knob. I normally, whenever I use the octave pedals personally, have that all the way up just so that clean signal is always in there. And then I'm adding to it or, basically adding to it. You can take that out and just have just the octave. And we can show that at some point too. Down here you have the mod. And if you roll the mod up, that's going to bring in the level of your mod. If you're either the phase or the Leslie sound, right? Mm-hmm. If you hold down, and I think it's worth showing real quick because we don't need to come back to it. If you hold down the fuzz and it starts to blink, now this is your fuzz knob, but it's just a level pad. If you roll that real...
So it doesn't roll it back and clean it up like a fuzz.
Right.
It's just how much of the level of the fuzz do you want in your mix.
All right. So do we want to just give them an idea real quick what the 4 different octaves sound like?
Yeah.
And so I'll just play something kind of single note thing, and then you can hear him roll those around.
I just left them all at 12 just to give you an idea. There's 4 different octaves there, and just all of them at noon. And then you can subtract or add any of those any way that you would like. It's crazy.
And that would be enough. I mean, it's almost more than... Actually, if you took the mod out of it, took the fuzz out of it, that would be enough.
That's pretty amazing.
The fuzz makes it cooler. The mod stuff makes it even cooler. What happens if we start... Well, before we get into that, one other little trick I'm going to show you. We have over on the side, and our cable's not long enough probably to put it in frame while we're playing. Just a little hand...
Here's what I found.
Oh, thank you, Siri. Yeah. Just a little handmade tap tempo. Mm-hmm. It's just a momentary switch, right? And so if you single tap that switch...
On just a standard cable. This isn't even a TRS cable. This is just a standard cable.
If you single tap it, it clicks the fuzz on and off. So a single tap while I'm playing... So you could put this on your board, use a little quick tap tempo switch like that, and be able to have an octave thing set up and then kick the fuzz on and off. If Pat double taps it...
So this is why I don't get to drive the car very often.
Right. So a double tap turns the mod.
Sorry.
It's called the mod light, right?
Yes, sir. Where it says mono, but that's where the mod comes up. But there's the mod.
So when you turn the mono switch and it's glowing red, you're going to the phaser and that monophonic kind of octave. Mm-hmm. And if you turn it off, you're going back to Leslie. So one thing might be cool real quick while we're there, if we can get Pat to double tap.
It double tap, yes. I'm
going to turn all the octaves off so you can just hear what the modulation's doing. So you're going between like the Leslie and the phaser. All right, that's pretty cool too. Now it's where I think it gets really interesting.
But what if you say we had several Mission Engineering expression pedals laying around from their generosity to us? What would we do with those?
So let me get rid of that tap switch and plug in.
You understand why we don't...
Back from the envelope filter series with the OB, the rattlesnake.
At the risk of sounding like NASCAR drivers, we do want to acknowledge people who have helped
the risk of sounding like Johnny Highland.
Right. I don't get my nails done by anybody in particular, but that's a guy who knows how to build relationships. Let's put it that way.
So we have the Mission Engineering EP1. We've plugged it in. Here's where I think this thing just goes like over the top. So I'm going to turn on, we have all the octaves off. I'm going to turn the Leslie down kind of slow. You just want to give us a chord.
At this point, if anybody cares, we've been playing through the Tyler JT22 and the PRS Silver Sky SE the whole time.
Wait. I got
Clean tone? Here's my...
All right. So there should be just a little bit of like the Leslie modulation. So we're probably going to do a whole series on that Leslie sound for this, but I'll show you this in this video. I'll push this to toe, and I'm going to take that mod, crank it up. Hold on a second.
I'm not the only one not allowed to drive.
So now we have, if Pat plays a little bit. and everywhere kind of in between.
Yeah.
So that's how easy it is. You take this, you put it in the heel position, turn your knobs where you want them. Put it in toe position, turn your knobs where you want them. So let's leave it in toe for a second. What have we brought up? Just a little bit of octave 1, a little bit of octave 2, maybe just a smidgen of a 1 octave down.
I should take up an offering.
Right. I mean, it's so cool. Like, you could have kind of more of an organish sounding thing, faster Leslie, slow Leslie. You could put the octaves on, you could have them on the heel and have them go away. We could probably go from like low octaves on the back, high octaves on the front. I mean, when we were sitting down here fooling around with it, I feel like I have to just show a couple things. Like, one thing I thought, what if you turned the mod all the way off? Excuse me, I gotta go to heel. What if you turned the mod all the way off on the heel and turned all the octaves off? And then I went to toe and brought up octave 1 all the way, but turned octave...
Turn the clean sound out.
Totally out.
Gone.
Let's throw... We should use the fuzz, but we're just going to throw a Barber Electronics direct drive in front of that. So remember, heel, if I did it right, clean, just normal. Let me see real quick.
Sorry.
Oh, you have it strapped on.
Sorry. I was listening to all the guitars singing along with it. When we stopped, I could hear all of them ringing.
It's hard to, that's what I'm looking for, anticipate what you're going to do. But when we were doing this earlier, we were like, wow, when you roll, it's almost like fake feedback.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Like that, it's that I couldn't grab it when you were doing it.
I was throwing a little delay there at the end just because when it went totally dry, it was like, whew.
What else could we do? You could put a phaser on the heel, the Leslie on the front. You could add some octaves to it. You could, like, oh my gosh, the ideas have been kind of like endless. Like the low to high octave thing. It almost reminds me maybe what people do with the whammy pedal where you have the high octave up. And that's all right now just using that polyphonic side. I mean, we could do like bring the clean tone all the way in. You got to kind of turn them and make sure they're off.
Yeah, right.
I'm going to bring the low octave up about a little bit. So right now it's just the clean and a low octave on the heel. I'm going to push this down. I'm going to kind of reset everything. And I'm going to leave clean all the way up. Have the low octave in the same place, but I'm going to make it go to monophonic. So it should change, keep the low octave, but change as we roll up from the poly to the monophonic.
All right. Yeah.
You want fuzz? And we'll add fuzz to both sides. So we just went from, like, I changed it part of the way through. So when we went up to toe, it went up to the one octave up, but on the monophonic and on the heel it was one octave down, but on the, anyway, it's like endless possibilities.
Yeah.
And it could be like, if you want to do something chordal wise where you have like some organish sounds or some Leslie or phaser sounds, or if you want to do something with fuzz, or if you want to run it in this, oh my gosh, my mind is blown. Like, we've had like really super useful pedals down here. And a lot of times I feel like I find that this pedal is really good at this one sound that I love.
Yeah, we'll take some of those 12 options and dial into one and be like, well, this is what works for us for this one. They do this really well.
This is
crazy.
Tweaker. Like, you would just be tweaking it all the time. I feel like I would just be tweaking it all the time.
Especially put that on there. It's...
Right. Right.
I really like the organ part, like where we weren't going to do it, but where I was playing with the dry signal, and then as we played, you could just slowly bring it up, and almost like an organ player coming behind you and giving that motion and all of that sound behind you while you still retain the...
And it doesn't always have to be...
Cray.
Right. Like, if we just... touch the octaves. I feel like by keeping those really low, they sit on the Leslie part. They sit on that rotary speaker kind of thing really nice. Man,
that's great.
All right, Dunlop, that one's good.
Even though I kept saying this, it is way more refined than this guy. Because this guy also lives in there, and this guy's cousin is in there. And all kinds of octaves are in there. It's so great that it goes 2 up, 2 down. Just with the blend of the dry signal as well. Yeah, it's fun. It makes playing fun. Like, part of what you want gear to do is inspire you, have you be creative, just enjoy playing. Even some of the wankery we did here that might not find a song context, it makes you want to play guitar. At the end of the day, that's not a bad thing.
Right. I know you see sometimes people are like, well, don't buy pedals, practice, and that's good advice. But on the other hand, sometimes like something like that makes you sit down here and practice. Gee, what if you threw a Dedo looper after it and just turned octave 2 up?
And played bass.
And we're octave 1 up with a little bit of the guitar signal and played a bass line into your Ditto looper and then...
build from there.
Right.
Quick, someone send one of these to Danish Pete. You want to find out what you can do with it?
With that purple?
Yeah, he'd love it.
So, anything else?
No. I say no and then I say more, but no. I mean, we've gushed enough. Like, and this is not... Someone didn't pay for this gushiness. This is free. This gushiness.
Well, one of the cool things, I think we were hesitant about any kind of thing like we're doing with Zzounds.
Right.
But when they were like, you pick, you can mention it, not mention it. You know, we sent them a list of what they want. They sent us those products. They weren't like, do these.
Right.
So, which is partially bad because we asked for things that we want.
The best thing that happened to us was a couple things were on back order.
Right. All right. So, yeah, that's it. We always take a minute and just thank you for watching. If you hit the subscribe button, we really appreciate that. Notification bell, like button, leaving comments. Like Pat said in the beginning, whenever you interact with the show, that's what's allowing us to get our hands on cool gear and share it with you. And if there's something you'd like to see, maybe something else from MXR that you're interested in because we're blown away by this, put it down in the comments. You know, Zzounds has it. We can get it in. We'll certainly do that.
And if you have one of these and you found something really fun, tell us that
we
too.
missed. Yeah, because I know there's a lot.
Well, just something you found, right? Like, anyway, I hijacked that part of the conversation, but it's always curious to be like, how did someone else use this?
So with that, I think was there one other thing? Thanks to Zzounds.
Right.
There was the other thing. We're doing another video specifically on the Leslie sound. I think a little bit shorter, like focused on that, but yeah,
it's good stuff. With that, I'm PJ on behalf of the Beard, reminding you, no matter what you hear, you never have too much gear. I know you didn't play your PRs yet. There's a clean tone.